What is your American dream?
That my daughters can grow up and do anything they want to do. That's my American dream.
My American dream is an America that's unified and diverse and, you know, filled with understanding and compassion and love.
My American dream is I hope that we can all just live equally and freely without prejudice, without ignorance.
I want to create a business. I want to focus and build my charity, start in America, build a charity.
My American dream is that we can live in a country where we don't necessarily agree on absolutely everything, but we can respect each other and we can work towards making the country better together, because that's what it's all about.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
The cop leaves the room right in the middle of the grand jury presentation.
Oh!
Whoa!
Well, I'm glad I have the two of you together. I have a bone to pick with both of you. Paul Hirsch, why in the world would you confuse me with a sloth? I'm a groundhog.
But sloths are cute.
Groundhogs are cuter. And Jake Hudnut, you called me a hedgehog yesterday. A hedgehog could fit in my paw. Get it straight, people. I'm a groundhog.
I'm sorry, groundhog.
Okay, it's all right. I still love you both.
I love you too, Sam.
All right, thank you. All right, bye. David Moreno?
Oh, hey, Sam.
Don't hey Sam me. I have a bone to pick with you too. I'm supposed to be the only furry, cute critter around this office, and you have the audacity to bring your new puppy in. Now I've got stiff competition. I do not think I can compete with Simba.
Sorry, Sam, no chance.
Well, David, in case you missed yesterday's episode of Bradshaw Live, Anna Ascona, our Miami field correspondent, interviewed Gabriela Ortega, who is the regional marketing manager of Warner Music Latina, and told about her family's immigration story originally from Nicaragua. Jake Hudnut came on and talked about a recent op-ed he wrote about, sadly, inmates who have died as they were being held in Hudson County Jail in New Jersey. But Jake's op-ed made people wake up, and changes have been made in the jail. Awesome job, Jake. And finally, Paula called, and Brad put her at ease when he explained to her that having high blood pressure would not affect the outcome of her medical test for her citizenship. It turns out that Emily is her attorney and PJ helps her too. And all of a sudden, all of the immigration attorneys got mad love from our viewers. That's because all the attorneys here at Spar Bernstein really are the best. Not only that, they put up with having a groundhog living in the office. What's on today's show? Watch and see. Well, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
All right, welcome everybody. It's Bradshaw Live. I'm being joined today, guest host by Jenny Moonjung Kim. She's one of our fantastic immigration attorneys. I said, Jenny, I'm talking to myself a lot, so please come join me here, and especially for the host chat, and give your 2 cents. And of course, she has more than 2 cents when it comes to immigration. She has a lot of sense. She's going to be giving you a lot of good immigration advice today. Jenny, welcome.
Well,
for
thank
first
you, Brad.
first time hosting or co-hosting with me here.
Yes, thank you for
That's
having
wonderful.
me.
Thank you. You look so good today. You look so
Thank you
beautiful
so
today.
much.
So what we start with, I have to say hello to the people who always watch all the time. We call them the Brad Squad.
Who's the Brad Squad?
We're going to go right through it right now. Kamisha Thielwell, hello. Petal Dice, Deion Watson, Malia Loban Martin, Patrona Collins, how you doing? Deion Watson, Jella Shauna, Veronica Malcolm, Jeff Bosey. I was calling him by the wrong name for a long time. Denise Bernard, Barbara Lord, Marge Higgs, Christy Consali, Barbara Lord, Beverly Thompson, Lisa Bling Rose with lots and lots of hearts, Marge Higgs with lots of laughing faces, Barbara Lord, Jason Cameron, and everybody else. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday, March 16th, 2016. And of course, we always have to start off with our favorite subject, Trump. Trump, the orange guy. We read in the New York Post today, Trump's son, Trump Jr. What's his name? Donald Trump Jr. Can't forget that because Donald Trump Jr. is getting divorced from Vanessa, his wife.
I read that.
Yes, they have 5 kids. So they've been married since 2005. So in 12 years, they had 5 kids.
5 kids.
Every other year, kid.
So she was pretty much
She was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
She just pregnant every 18 months. So now 10 years, 12 years into their marriage, Donald, the father, her father-in-law, is now the president of the United States of America. He is under investigation for multiple things. I guess most likely, most prominently, the Russian probe.
Yes.
But also maybe now Stormy Daniels' probe.
Yes.
Who knows what other probes are happening out there on him? And coincidentally, Jenny.
Yes.
And this is just pure coincidence. It came out yesterday or 2 days ago that Mueller, who is the special prosecutor, has requested financial documentation from the Trump Organization, the same organization that Don Jr. is running.
Okay.
Coincidentally, on the same day, his wife files for an uncontested divorce,
Which is quite
which
unusual.
is quite
in a
unusual
situation
when
like
you're
this, yeah.
dealing with somebody who is a billionaire.
Yeah.
To file an uncontested divorce. That means you have nothing to fight over. There is
Nothing to fight over.
no controversy whatsoever. So Donald Trump Jr. hands over some financial documentation, we don't know what it is, to Special Prosecutor Mueller,
Okay.
and on the same day his wife gets an uncontested divorce.
Coincidence?
So, there's a lot of armchair attorneys out there.
Mm-hmm.
We call the armchair attorneys anyone who has a legal comment other than us. We're the real attorneys. So anyone who wants to get out there and give their 2 cents in the legal world, we call them on this show, the Brad Show Live, armchair attorneys.
Okay.
And some of the armchair attorneys say it's very unusual that somebody would get, now we're not going to accuse anybody of anything.
Okay.
Okay, but
We never do.
Okay, but one other little tidbit of information I neglected to tell you.
Okay.
Because I know you're busy doing immigration all day. As a matter of fact, Jenny came to me around 5 o'clock, because you had a client who kept changing her mind on what type of application she wanted to do. And Jenny goes, I love this client, but if she makes me redo these forms one more time, I'm going to strangle her. Well,
That's correct.
But we don't strangle clients.
No,
We're
no,
only
no,
joking
no, no,
around.
no, no.
So I said, Jenny, you got to smile because we're going to be on a live show very soon. And so she was working a lot, Jenny, today. And one little tidbit that we missed about this whole thing, because it's weird, why would a woman who is married to a billionaire and has 5 children with him in 10 years, all of a sudden out of nowhere
File for divorce.
And it just came out 2 days earlier that they were having marital problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, within 48 hours, there's an uncontested divorce at the same exact moment that Trump Jr. has to hand over financial documentation from the Trump Organization. Well, it came out this afternoon that the wife, Vanessa, hired a criminal defense attorney.
As her divorce attorney?
As her divorce attorney. Her divorce attorney. So, we have divorce attorneys here, Megan, okay, and we have criminal defense attorneys here, David and Paul. You saw them in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, David is a pretty tough criminal defense attorney, although he was holding a little puppy in his hand during the groundhog segment. And it's very unusual that you would go, especially a billionaire, Okay, if you are really getting a divorce, you go and you hire the best divorce attorney you can.
Not just one. I've seen articles and instances where individuals in such high power, financial relationships as well, where there's a lot of money involved, have multiple divorce attorneys.
Yeah. So it's very odd.
Yeah.
So some of the armchair attorneys out there are saying,
what's going on
What's going on here? This is a very odd situation. And some armchair attorneys are saying that if somebody looks like they are going to be charged criminally and perhaps lose their money, one thing that they can do is give their money to somebody else.
Wow.
So that they don't lose their money. Now here's a tweet. What is this tweet that we have here? Is this the tweet from John Fugelsang?
It is.
Okay, it says, I refuse to joke. I don't know. Who's John Fugelsang? I'm not sure who he is.
He is apparently some sort of
he's a big
comedian.
guy somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's a what?
He is an actor, political comedian.
He's a satirist.
Satirist, yes.
A satirist. Host of Page 6 TV. Not as big as Brad Show Live, obviously, because he's probably going to say, who the hell is Brad? But he says, I refuse to joke about Vanessa Trump because it's never funny when a couple files for an uncontested quick divorce, one where assets can be swiftly transferred on the same day an independent special counsel subpoenas their family business. People, this could happen to you someday. Now, in there is a joke, I think, right?
Apparently so.
Yeah. So in other words, the armchair lawyers out there, including John Fugelsang, who's kind of hinting at this, I'll tell you exactly what he's hinting at. He's hinting at the fact that Trump Jr. says, they're going to come after me, they're going to come after all my money, I'm going to end up in jail, and I got to save my money. So if I get divorced, and in the divorce settlement, the money ends up going to my wife, and she becomes my ex-wife, it's no longer family money, and it would be much harder to claw back the money from the ex-wife, and the ex-wife has now hired a criminal defense attorney. Now, I don't know what is going on yet, because Mueller has not come out and said what he's looking at, but that seems to be, it seems to portend. You like the word portend?
Portend.
Portend.
That is the conclusion that you can draw.
Correct. Thank you very much. It seems to portend to something more sinister going on. We will see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
By the way, the telephone number, this is an immigration show, believe it or not, and Jenny Kim is an awesome immigration attorney. So the number to call to get your immigration questions asked and answered is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465. And one other thing I want everybody to do right now, if you haven't done it already, share this with your friends and family. Let them know that we are coming to you live and we are going to be answering your immigration questions. And the best way to share this, Jenny, is you take a thumb, this finger. We don't do the two ones in the middle, but we take the thumb or the pointer finger and you press some buttons on your phone and you share this to your timeline, you share this to your friend's timeline. We're showing you exactly how it's done right now. And what ultimately happens is your friends and family get to get some good immigration advice as well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's amazing technology. Amazing technology. Did you see in Russia, this is weird, 122 million, you don't see things in Russia a lot, I know, Jenny, but there's a plane's taken off with $122 million of gold.
I wish I
today.
was standing right there.
Right, look, you know what happened to the gold? It ended up on the runway. I don't know how that could happen. How does gold fall out of a plane? But $122 million worth of gold, 3 tons, more than 6,000 pounds of gold. Here it is, showered the runway. If me or you or any of our viewers were in Siberia at this time, at this moment when the gold fell on the runway, and look, there's nobody there, we would all be very, very rich.
How would we carry all the gold away?
I don't know. We would be stuck in Siberia with gold. We would be rich but have nowhere to spend it.
That is insane. Look at that.
That's insane what happened. So people found the gold, and apparently the company claims it was all returned to them. Who knows if that is true or not. But I would tell you the name of the company is Antonov Cargo Aircraft. If you want to ship stuff to Russia.
Avoid
Antonov cargo aircraft simply because your gold may end up on the runway.
Wow.
This is actually, and I'm going from something silly to something very serious now. Did you see the two women who vandalized the Arizona mosque?
You know, I didn't hear about this until I read some of the notes
Yeah,
about
a woman
this.
by the name of Tahani Gonzalez and Elizabeth Donhauser. They were arrested on suspicion of third-degree burglary. I saw the video. They're taking their children, and we don't even want to show that video because it was so disgusting.
Horrible.
We don't show any of this video. It's disgusting. Trust me, I'll describe it. I saw the video. It was they were taking their children through a mosque that was at that moment, I guess nobody was there, and they were videotaping and they were saying, "Look, it smells like goat. Look, this is disgusting. Look, these people from Muslims should be out of our country." I mean, the horrible.
Where were they?
This is in Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Horrible things they were saying, and then they posted it, and it's bad enough that they were doing what the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan do. It's worse that they would post it. It's even I can't even. I'm like, this is how hate goes from generation to generation.
That's how
because
you
they were
teach hate.
teaching their children this. So in the beginning, the police in Tempe, Arizona did nothing about it. They said, we'll investigate. But because there was so much outrage, these women were eventually arrested, Tahani Gonzalez and Elizabeth Donhauser. The video shocked the community in Tempe. It shocked the world, actually. It shocked certainly me. Civil rights organizations, including the Council on American Islamic Relations and the Anti-Defamation League, which was originally set up to fight anti-Semitism, but now fights all sorts of racism, condemned the incident. The ADL even called it extremely disturbing and ugly on many levels. I don't think these children should go back to these parents.
No, I don't think so at all.
I think the children should be removed from these parents.
Hopefully they will be.
You know, the other thing, which is interesting is I don't know what these women's background is, but at least one of them's last name is Gonzalez. And when you have minorities
targeting
other minorities, and we don't know if she's a minority or not. That that's just her last name, so we're just making an insinuation, but that's a terrible thing. All right, 1-800-529-5465. One last thing before we get to our immigration calls. One last thing.
Okay.
I watched Jimmy Kimmel last night.
Did you? What time is Jimmy Kimmel on?
He's on at 11:30.
Oh no, that's
on Channel 7 in New York, which is ABC. Okay, and last night he went shopping. It was actually very funny, and very shocking, and quite ironic, and also quite hypocritical. Thank you very much. I couldn't come up with the word. He went shopping, and where did he go shopping last night on his show? He went right to the Trump Organization's family's Trump shop, or whatever it's called.
Was it online?
It was online. It's Trump's online shop. And he wanted to see how seriously the Trump family was taking
Made in America.
Make it in America.
Make it in America.
Okay. America First. And he called it the America First Challenge. And Donald Trump has demanded American companies make their merchandise in the U.S. So Kimmel pulled out a whole bunch of merchandise from Trump Organization, their own website that they were selling, or some would say hawking, on their website. So items include a Trump hat, made in China.
Made in China.
Trump coffee mug, made in Thailand. Golf club cover, made in China. A blanket made in China, and a baby bib made in Peru. He also found two items, a gold bar and a pet bandana, and they were missing the federally required country of origin designation, which is finable by $500,000 per
$500,000?
$500,000 per offense.
Wow.
So if you sell something and you don't say where it's from on the packaging, it's a $500,000 offense.
For each item?
For each item. So now Jimmy Kimmel, and I give this man credit, okay, he has now filed a complaint. Jimmy Kimmel has now filed a complaint against the Trump Organization for $500,000
Wow.
per item. There you have it. All the news, Jenny. All the news.
I don't need to watch the news.
You
I
don't
can
need
just
to
watch
watch it anymore.
Your show and.
She's upset. What is Carol Anderson the Tiger? I didn't see her name. Carol Anderson the Tiger, I'm having problem here. I didn't see your name. So my apologies, Carol Anderson the Tiger. And for all the other people, I don't see your names either because the problem is on my feed here, once the show starts, I don't know why, we got to fix this somehow. But once the show starts, about 3 minutes into the show, the comments don't refresh.
Okay.
On my iPad, and I even tried setting up my phone. It's not refreshing on my phone either, and it's hard for me to talk and do this tech stuff on the side here. So how this set up, everybody, is I'm watching one feed on here, I'm watching another feed on here, and on here is all the telephone calls coming in and all the nonsense with the show. Not that the show is nonsense, but there's a lot to do here.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. As a matter of fact, Jenny said to me, she goes, "Oh my God, there's a lot going on here right before the show starts. It's like the nightly news, right?"
There's a tremendous amount going
Right.
on.
Can you describe what happened about 3 minutes before we went on?
People are putting mics on, making sure all the equipment work, looking for other equipment to add on.
Right. Fixing my collar,
Yeah,
getting
water for Brad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 people here. Like, the only thing we didn't have, because we don't have makeup artists, although you look beautiful, you did your own makeup. I don't put any makeup on. The only thing we don't have is, you see the old shows where they're like makeup, and the guy goes boom, and like hit you with the powder in the face.
The sponge.
Yeah, right. That's the only thing we don't have here. Maybe I should do makeup one day. I don't know. So, Carol Anderson the Tiger, I'm sorry. The feed doesn't. Yeah, she was upset. She was upset that I didn't give her a shout out.
Hi, Carol Anderson the Tiger.
Right, she's our client, by the way. She's our old client.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, and you know what? You know what you say? You know what you say when you meet Carol Anderson the Tiger if she ever comes to see you?
Growl?
No, never mess with the tiger. You never mess with the tiger. All right, so we have somebody who's waiting 22 minutes. They have a burning immigration question because they have been waiting since our show started. So now's the time when you're going to call to ask your immigration questions. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. Do you think your paralegal Myola is watching you right now?
I believe she's watching, or she should be.
You want to give a shout out to Myola?
Hi, Myola. I love you, Myola.
What about your husband? Is your husband watching, Jenny?
I'm not sure. He might be in the process of picking up the baby right now.
Okay, so we don't know if your husband is watching or not.
But hello, Eric, if you are watching.
Yes, we all love you here, Eric.
Yes.
More some than others. Hopefully Jenny loves you more than me. No, he's a nice guy. I always see him at the holiday parties.
Yes, he loves the holiday parties.
Yeah, he always comes to the holiday party. I see him once a year at the holiday parties, your husband. All right, so we're going to go to Gene in Tennessee. Gene, how are you? You're on Brad Show Live with Jenny, and we're going to answer your immigration question. What's up?
Hey, Jenny, can you hear me?
Hey, Gene, how's it going?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. All right, I have one question for you, all right? I came on a visitors, all right? And I was supposed to, return
Where you from?
October last year, but I didn't.
Where you
what
from?
can I do to get my status?
Where you from? Where you from?
Say again?
Where are you from? Where in this world are you from?
Yeah, Jamaica.
Jamaica. All right, so we got Gene from Jamaica. He came on a visitor's visa, Jenny, and he would like a green card.
I believe he said he came in last year. Is that correct, Gene?
Gene.
Did we lose Gene?
No, Gene's there. All right, so the bottom line is this. Hold on, Gene, because we're having a little trouble. Okay, but Gene came on a visitor's visa. He overstayed his time. He'd like a green card. Usually I say, that really requires a consultation. Simply because we
can't really evaluate.
I can't evaluate what we can. There's like 100 different ways to help. But for those who are watching new, we're in this new fancy studio now. We got the city of New York behind us. But when we used to do this show before, when it was a radio show, and we used to just basically take out our phones and film us, I used to say, "You see these books behind me? There's about 1,000 books behind me on how to get a green card." We need to know a little more from Gene. So let's find out. Let's see if Gene is still there. If we got a good connection, and let's see if we can find out more from Gene. Gene, are you back with a better connection?
Yes.
Okay. So you overstayed your time, and what family you got here, Gene?
Grandparents.
What?
Grandparents.
Grandparents. Did your grandparents ever file for your parents?
No.
How come? Where are your parents?
I'm not even sure.
You don't know. You don't know.
He's just saying no, but he's not sure.
He's not sure.
Okay.
All right. So, Gene, this is it. We're not going to solve your problem on this show at this very moment. You do need a consultation. I was trying to give you at least a direction on where to go. I'm not even sure what direction to go with you yet. That's why you require a full consultation. When somebody calls up and says, I need a green card, the first things out of my mouth are, you really need a consultation, and we'll do it by phone.
Sure.
Okay, so hold on one second, all right? All right. But Gene needs help. He overstayed on his time. Let's go to Annette in Atlanta, Georgia. Annette.
Hi, Annette.
Hi.
How you doing?
So, I'm good. Good. Thanks for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
So, bear with me. So, my husband grew up in New York. He came with his green card under his father. His father is a citizen. His father came here. Well, before he came here, his father became a citizen, and then he came years later. So what we're doing, we're filing for a certificate of citizenship. I literally just heard back from immigration yesterday. Well, we submitted all of the documents. And so what they're asking for now is additional evidence from his dad showing that he lived in the United States on the date of his birthday, which is not likely because his father is in Jamaica when he was born.
Okay, so this is the deal. Okay? All right, there's two ways in which you would derive citizenship directly from a father, just because the sun rises and we have a new day, and the sun rises and I wake up and guess what? I'm a U.S. citizen. Wow, shocking how that could happen, but it does happen.
It does happen, yeah.
All right, so, and that's the application you did. Okay, you did the application. I woke up, the sun was shining, and shockingly, I'm a U.S. citizen. And it would be under one of two scenarios. Either one, which is the way I think you filed the application. The father was a citizen when he was born.
When your husband was born.
When your husband was born, and he was living in the United States for 10 years prior to the birth. That would be one way in which your husband would be an automatic U.S. citizen. The other way in which he would be an automatic U.S. citizen is that your husband came to the United States with a green card and was living in the legal custody of the father prior to the 18th birthday.
Yes.
Okay, how old is okay, now the question becomes how old is he? Because the laws changed in 2001. How old is your husband? Drum roll, please. I know we have a drum roll.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do the drum roll.
We have a drum roll back there, but team's not on it. Okay, how old is your husband? There it is.
Oh, there we go.
43.
43. Okay, so because he's 43, little drum roll was late, but because he's 43, he falls under the old immigration laws.
Yes.
Okay? Citizenship laws changed in 2001. So we go to old immigration laws. All right, now follow along, because I'm going to ask you to bear with me for a second. Okay?
Okay.
Old immigration laws, you're a citizen under one of four scenarios. Okay? Scenario one, and all these scenarios all are the same. I have a green card. I entered the United States under the age of 18, and it's one of these four scenarios. Okay? Mom and dad were both citizens before I was 18. True or not true?
Not true.
Okay.
Only dad.
Okay.
Only dad.
So now number two is mom's a citizen, dad's not a citizen, and dad was not married to mom, so we know that's not true. Third scenario is mom's a citizen, dad's dead, we know dad's alive and in Jamaica. The last scenario is dad was married to mom, dad divorced mom before 18. Is that?
And he received legal custody of.
Correct. So the answer, unfortunately, and I got to stand up. I was like kind of leaning there. The answer, unfortunately, is that your husband is not a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
I know that's sad. Now, question. Because I'm not done with you yet. Okay. Your husband has a green card.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any reason why he can't naturalize?
Well, there's a complication. He was deported, and we're trying to get him back here.
Oh, I understand. Why was he deported?
Apparently he was pulled over. They weren't able, it's a long story, they weren't able to verify his legal status in California, couldn't get in touch with Dad. And so Dad eventually, well, by the time they got in touch with Dad, they had to book him in. Then they held him over. He agreed to some charges, and he insisted on just leaving.
I didn't hear the agreed to some charges.
He didn't
Okay.
agree to the.
All right.
He agreed to some charges.
All right. So this is the story. Okay. So what we would do is, this is how you have to go about it. You're just going about this all wrong. Okay. You need to hire us, or hire a good lawyer. It doesn't have to be us. Hire Jenny Kim, hire Brad Bernstein, hire somebody, and then we're going to get your husband's immigration records from the court, and we're going to see what happened.
What happened in the case? That's so important to the investigation.
And then we can determine if we can operate.
Can I ask? We've been trying to get the immigration records from the court, but there's no records at the court, and so
there will be. Trust me.
If he was deported from the United States, there has to be some sort of records.
What year was he deported? What year was this? What year was this?
2006.
Oh, there's records. Don't worry. There's records. All right, you hold on. We're going to help you, okay? Hold on. All right.
Okay.
All right. Ugh, my computer.
Is it frozen?
It's frozen, but now we're good. Brian in Brooklyn. Brian.
Yeah, hi, Brad. Good afternoon. First time caller, long time listener. I have a quick question.
Brian, before you go, and thank you, say hello to Jenny, who is a long-time lawyer, first time on Brad Show Live, co-hosting with me.
Hi, Brian.
So it's a first for both of you.
Okay, all right, great. Quick question. Godmother, 83 years old, have a valid British passport. Is in Jamaica. Also had a green card, the old one that doesn't have the expiration date. But she stayed longer than she really wanted to. Sick, several surgeries. No, she wants to come back here to New York.
How long is longer than she wanted to?
She's maybe 09. She left in 09 to Jamaica.
How many surgeries has she had? What has been her illnesses for all these years?
Hip replacement.
Okay, but when was the hip replacement?
The last one she had was about 2 years ago.
So she's had a series of medical issues, is that correct?
It sounds like
correct.
Okay. So, I mean, there's two things. This is your, who is this to you? Grandmother. Where are your parents?
Godmother.
Oh, godmother.
Okay, where are her children, just out of curiosity?
She didn't have any kids.
Okay, so then she has to go for the SB1 visa.
Yes.
All right, Jenny, explain what we need. And you're going to need a good attorney because she's been out of the country for about 8 years
for an
already.
extended period of time.
Yep.
She's gonna have
but she couldn't come back on the British passport even though it's valid.
Yeah, if she wants to come back on a British passport just to visit, but if you want to bring her back with a green card to get to live here permanently, she's going to need an SB1 visa.
No, she just would need to come back to visit because she have her pension or Social Security, and that's gone haywire.
Guess what? Okay. Guess what? You don't get Social Security as a visitor on a British passport. You only get Social Security if you reside.
No, but she had it. She had it already. She was getting it before she went.
Let me tell you what the law is. Okay,
right.
If you have a green card and you leave the United States of America and you go live somewhere else, legally, I'm telling you the law. The law says she's not entitled to collect Social Security anymore. You're only entitled to collect Social Security residing in the United States as a lawful permanent resident. Okay, her pension, that's a different story. That's a private thing between her and her union and company, whatever it may be.
Right.
But she wants to collect Social Security. She needs to get a green card and have a green card and re-enter the United States with a green card. Okay, because if she goes and she goes to Social Security and says, "Hey, I'm not collecting Social Security. I came back on my British passport and I'm living in Jamaica. Please send me the check to Jamaica." They're going to say, "Get lost. You're not entitled to it." So, talk about the SB1 visa quickly.
It's essentially you're going to the U.S. Embassy in your home country and applying for a visa to come to the United States as a returning resident, permanent resident, and you have to be able to explain and provide documentation to the consular officer there as to the reasons why your godmother was not able to come back into the United States, and that would include, in an instance like this, medical records to show that she had all these surgeries that prevented her from being able to travel and return back to the United States. Simply put.
Thank you. She needs help. You need help. Hold on. Again, my computer. Ugh! The heck is wrong with this thing? All right, Tracy in the Bronx. Tracy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Brad.
How you doing?
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Jenny. It's Tracy. I'm here to big you up, you and Mayola.
I know Tracy.
You know Tracy?
I recognize her
Yeah, she's called Go Girl. You go girl. Right?
One of my
Thank you,
favorites.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayola. You guys did an awesome job.
Wonderful.
Me and my husband are great.
Yeah. What did you?
Great appreciated.
Can I ask what Jenny did for you, or you want to share that with us?
Say that again, Brad.
Can I ask what Jenny did for you? Do you want to share that with us?
Yes,
Yeah.
I annoyed Jenny, I annoyed Mayola, and they worked it out for me and my husband. My husband, we just came today to pick up his green card.
Oh, wonderful. Congrats. She just got her green card today?
Her husband.
Her husband. So she's just calling to big you up. Nothing,
She's just calling to say
hello.
hello.
Thank you, Tracy.
And I
Congratulations.
pick you up too, Brad. I'm sorry I couldn't take a selfie because I'm all sick, so next time.
Okay, next time. You owe us a selfie.
Yes, and
Thank
I
you,
love
Tracy.
you guys. You
Thank
won't hear
you.
the last from me. I love you, love you, love you, love you.
Thank
Thanks,
you. We love you
Tracy.
too. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Go enjoy your weekend. It's a great weekend to
Thank
celebrate.
you, you too. Bye,
Okay,
guys.
thank you. 1-800-529-5465. Let's go to Nicole in Queens. Nicole. Go.
What was that?
Nicole
Hung up on us?
hung up on us.
Bye, Nicole.
Bye, Nicole. All right. She got gunk. Paula in Philadelphia.
Hello.
How
Hi,
you doing?
Brad.
How you doing?
Hi, Paula.
I'm okay. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
What's
Good,
going on?
thanks. How are you?
I'm okay. Brad, well, I'm a client at your firm. I think I mentioned this. Emily is my lawyer and also PJ is my paralegal. But I went to
Did you just
I
call
went
me
to
the
the
other day?
immigration doctor and I was filling out the
She just called. What? You just called me the other day about your hypertension, and I said, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
What are you worrying about it now for?
I forgot. That was yesterday. I forgot to tell you my second question.
Oh, the second question. I thought you were still worrying about this. I don't want you to get high blood pressure. Everything is
Your
good.
blood pressure's gonna increase.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
fine.
What's the second question?
I went to the immigration doctor, but I have to go back for the form to bring to Emily on the I-693 form. It has where I have to fill out my information. They ask for my family last name, my first name, and my middle name. So I put down my family name, which is Clement, but I'm married. So on my passport has Clement Lewis. So I just put down Clement. So the doctor told me to ask my lawyer if I'm supposed to put Clement Lewis or just Clement, since my passport has Clement Lewis.
Well, what's the name that you go by, Paula? Is it Clemens Lewis or just Clemens?
Yeah, that's what I'm going by, because on my passport, while on my ID, I use my passport.
So goes Clement Lewis.
Yeah, you just want to be consistent, so it should be Clemens Lewis then.
Oh, because she said that how she had other clients that put, their marriage name, but she said she don't want me to do that. It's better I ask my lawyer what to do before I put on the Lewis, because right now I only have Clement.
All right, do it as Clement Lewis, because that's what your passport says. It's
That's
a
your
modern
name.
world, Paula. You don't have to take your husband's name. If you've been going by Clement Lewis this whole time, so be it. Whether you take your husband's name or not is not definitive or not even dispositive of whether you're in a bona fide marriage. Actually, taking his name or not has nothing to do with it.
No.
So just go by.
No, my husband wanted me to take his last name.
That's up to you.
That's between you guys.
That's between you guys. That ain't between us.
But for the purpose of the immigration medical exam, you should just try to be consistent and put what your actual legal name is.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you for our purposes. Okay, for immigration purposes, it doesn't matter whether or not you take your husband's name or not.
Yeah.
The only thing is just be consistent that you're using the same name across all applications. It just makes things a lot simpler. Now, whether you want to take your husband's last name or not, that's a private thing between the two of you. And the Brad Squad, if you want to get them involved.
If you want the Brad Squad's opinion.
Okay, if you want their opinion, they will tell you. I promise.
Okay, well, that's what I needed to know. So I could go back and let her know I want to add the Lewis to the
Yes.
family name.
Yes.
And one more thing before I hang up, like I was listening to you like when SMG was there, the old SMG.
Wow, you're an old-time listener. Yes.
And well, when Squeeze was there, Squeeze used to stand up and scream out, you guys need to call in.
Yeah.
And then there was something that you said. You said that some people sit down and is not doing anything. And I was like, you know what? I'm one of the people that he's talking about who sit down and is not doing anything. And you said that it's better you do something.
Correct.
It's better you get up and do something than sitting down and in doing nothing. I'm like, you know what?
What?
He's right. And the next day I made that phone call to speak to a lawyer at your firm.
You know what?
So
You know what, Paula?
did take that
Congratulations. And look, she's making a move.
Yeah.
She is making a move.
Yes, I'm there.
Making a move. Well, I'm glad you're listening to me because I usually I make sense.
Usually,
yes.
Yes, I just want to thank you for saying those words.
Right.
Those was encouragement to me. So I did get up and do something that I'm just sitting down and wasn't doing nothing. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Paula. Oh, there it is.
Goodbye.
They're one step behind, but thank you very much, Paula. I appreciate it, and
We
that's
need
good
the button
encouragement
here.
for other people.
Yes.
All right. Oh, clunk. She hung up on us too. Let's go to Shelly in the Bronx. Shelly,
Hi, good evening, Brad.
how you doing?
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, I have a quick question. My husband been arrested last November. They had 3 charges against him. They dropped 1 and want to do 2 as a misdemeanor. We haven't started filing his paperwork yet, so what are the chances with 2 misdemeanors?
A misdemeanor, what though?
What are the misdemeanors?
Okay, one of the charge was unlawful fleeing the police officer that they dropped, and the other 2 is actually the charge of resisting arrest and the charge of obstructing governmental administration.
Now, those were charges. What was he ultimately found guilty of?
He haven't been found guilty yet. But
Okay, where did this happen? Where did this happen?
In the Bronx.
Okay, now I want you to not say one more word, because there's pending charges against your husband. So when there's pending charges in a criminal case, as I say this all the time, it's not just in the movies, it's in real life. Everything you say can and will be used against you. There is nothing you're going to say that's going to help your husband right at this moment. And there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to help him. He needs a private, one-on-one, professional, and attorney-privileged consultation. Hold on one second, all right? All right, there you have it. 1-800-529-5465. By the way, Jenny, in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to meet up. You know a young lady by the name of Kim, also known as Belgian Kim?
No, I don't.
Yeah, okay, you're gonna meet her.
Oh, from our office.
From our office.
Okay.
Yes, you do know her. You know,
of course I know
Belgian Kim.
Kimmy
Kim. And Kim's going to be reading off. I presume somewhere, because my Facebook feed is a little off. I presume somewhere that there's a lot of people with a lot of Facebook questions about immigration, and they leave their questions on Facebook. And Kim, also known as Belgium Kim, also known as the new SMG, also known...
She wears a lot of hats.
She wears a lot of hats. Okay, she's the new social media guru. She's called her Belgium Kim. Simply because it's quite ironic that she was born in Belgium, grew up in North Carolina, and lives in Harlem. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But she's going to be with us in about 10 minutes.
Awesome.
Before then, I think this is really important because it's tax season.
Okay.
And because it is tax season, the two biggest things that we always see people all the time with taxes is, especially for people who are out of status, who don't have social security numbers, is how do I pay my taxes if I don't have a social security number? How do I get a tax identification number? How do I get a social security number? What about my children? Can I get my children tax identification numbers? I just want to pay my taxes and do the right thing. And then the other big thing is that everybody wants to know is dependents. I want to file, and you always hear this question, I want to file taxes for my cousin. What do you mean you want to file taxes for my cousin? There's no such thing as file. What you're asking is you want to put your cousin as a dependent on your tax returns. Is that legal? Is that not legal? Well, I just met a young lady. I didn't just meet her. I've known her for several years. Carmela Waldron. She's a tax attorney here at Spar Bernstein. But I just met up with her a little earlier, right before we went on the air, because she wasn't able to hang around to do the live show. And we taped a little segment about tax identification numbers, filing taxes if you don't have a green card. What if I'm married to a U.S. citizen and I'm waiting on my Social Security number? Should I file my taxes? Watch this. It's really important.
Very informative, right?
So I'm with Carmela Waldron. She's our tax attorney extraordinaire. She's an unbelievable tax advocate on your behalf. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It is tax season. It is approaching. April 15th is right around the corner. And you want to know something? Whether you are in legal status, you are out of status, whether you have taxes withheld out of your salary, you're getting paid cash. Some people like to say getting paid under the table. You are always responsible to file a tax return. If you earn money in the United States of America, you must, under the law, file a tax return, no matter what your immigration status is, no matter whether you're getting paid under the table, over the table, you have money being withheld from your salary, or you're just getting a full salary and expected to pay the tax return at the end of the year. There are the two most important, or not the, well, everything's an important question, but certainly two of the biggest questions we always get about taxes as we come around this time of year is, one, how do I file a tax return if I don't have a Social Security number? And two, we get this question all the time as well, who can I declare on my taxes as dependents? Those are the two biggest questions we always get from people. And I have brought Carmela Waldron here. She is a tax attorney here at Spar Bernstein, and she is here. Listen to her. She is here to break it all down for you. So, Carmela, welcome.
Great being here.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
So, Carmela, if you don't have a Social Security number, what does somebody do? They want to pay a tax return.
Sure. If someone does not have a Social Security number, you could apply for I-10 for your spouse and for your children.
What is the I-10? Tell us what that is.
Oh, sure. It is an identification taxpayer number, and is used to pay your taxes, also for dependents and spouses.
So in other words, if you don't have a Social Security number, you could apply for this tax identification number in lieu of a Social Security number, and the IRS would accept your tax return.
Yes.
Okay, so now how does somebody who doesn't have a Social Security number, and this goes to anybody who either is in legal status, out of status. If you're in legal status, obviously, and your work authorized, you should get a Social Security number. But this goes for everybody who is kind of working out of status. How do you go about, Carmela, how does somebody go about getting this tax identification number?
Sure. It's very easy process. You file what is called a W-7 application. And if for your spouse, all I need is a current passport, or if the passport has expired, I just need a birth certificate or a state or foreign ID.
Now, let me ask you a question. You said spouse, so it's for you and your spouse.
Yes.
You can get tax identification numbers. Let's say you are a family of people who are undocumented, and you're both husband and wife working, or maybe it's just the husband working and the wife is not working, or it's a modern world, maybe the wife is working and the husband isn't. But we have a situation where both husband and wife don't have Social Security numbers and only one of them is working. Can the other spouse get a tax ID number too?
Absolutely.
So what do you do?
You just fill out a form called W-7. I just need a current passport for that spouse that is not working to submit with the 2017 tax return.
Now, can you use your I-10 number? Can you use this tax identification number? You can use it to file your tax returns. Can you use it for anything else?
Yes, I-10 can be used to open up bank accounts. Also could be used to add someone on a healthcare application as well.
And also to enroll a child in school.
Oh yes, another important factor too, you could use that I-10 to enroll a child in school and also add that child to your healthcare.
Now that brings me to the next question.
Yes.
Can a child get a tax identification number?
Absolutely.
How do you go about that, and what's with that? What happens if the child's in another country? What if the child's not living with the parents?
Oh, only if the child is living with the parent. You could apply for I-10.
So if you have children in another country, you obviously can't apply for a tax identification number for them.
Absolutely not. And with the I-10 application, the W-7 application, all I need is a copy of this child's school records.
So basically, anybody in the household can get a tax identification number if they don't have a social security number, as long as there's a tax return being filed for at least somebody in that household.
Correct.
So now let me ask you a question. Now let's say this family, okay, whether it's a single mom and her children, whether it's a married couple and her children, maybe there's somebody who's married to a U.S. citizen and the spouse doesn't have a social security number yet because they don't have their work authorization, whatever the facts may be. Now let's say eventually they get a social security number. Okay, you adjust your status, you get your green card, you get your social security number. What do you do? What do you do about this tax identification number?
Oh, absolutely nothing. What the IRS does is you just merge the number, the ITIN number with Social Security number.
How do you merge that? What do? You come to Carmela, or is it something?
No, when you file your tax return with the Social Security number, when it's filed with the IRS will file whatever amounts owed or refund under the Social Security number. So you don't have to do a thing.
Now we have a guy in the White House who's orange. Some people like to call this orange man a president. Some people like to call him Mr. Trump. We just call him Orange Man. Okay? So now this Orange Man, he cut everybody's taxes. He cut very rich people's taxes more than very poor people's taxes. But nevertheless, everybody's taxes got reduced a little bit. How does this play into somebody who is working here undocumented? Because you always hear all the time, Trump wants to deport people. Should A, people be scared who are undocumented to file a tax return? And B, how do all of these tax rules and new tax cuts affect somebody getting a tax ID? And how does it affect somebody who's out of status filing their taxes? That's a mouthful.
I know.
Right.
Well, first thing is that filing a tax return actually benefits you because it establishes presence. So when you do decide to become a citizen, you have that work history. You're here and also your work history.
Right.
The second thing is that I want to stress the importance is that this is the last year in which you could obtain child tax credit with an ITIN number. Because under the new tax law, you have to have a Social Security number for that child in order to claim that child tax credit.
So Trump has taken something away from somebody who only has a tax identification number.
Correct.
You can no longer get a tax credit for children. This will be the last year, 2017, for your filing. But in 2018, you can't, if you have a tax ID number, you're not going to get a child credit for declaring children.
You won't be able to receive that child tax credit, correct? But you'll be able to get another.
What if the child has a Social Security number, but the parent doesn't?
You still be able to get that child tax credit for that child. That has a Social Security number.
So it's the child has to have the Social Security number.
Correct.
Not the parent.
Not the parent.
Okay. Well, now let's talk about because we see this all the time. There's so much misinformation out there about tax identification numbers, and you're here to break it all down. Tell us about a situation. I know you have plenty of situations.
Yes.
But tell us about at least one situation, or maybe two or three, but give me at least one, okay, where you had a client come in, because I know this happens all the time.
Yes.
We work together here at Spar Bernstein. Carmela's a fantastic attorney here, if I didn't say that
Thank you.
enough. And we work together. But I know all the time people come in and they say, I went to an accountant or I went to a tax preparer, and they said, I can't do anything with my taxes. I can't get a tax ID number not to do anything. Tell me why that's bad information and tell me what you have done to fix these problems.
Sure. I had a taxpayer that came to my office and he was told by a tax preparer that he could not claim his wife or 2 children. And I told him that is not true. He was a U.S. citizen. His wife and 2 children were undocumented. So what I did for him is file a W-7 application to apply for ITIN for his wife and 2 children. And with this ITIN, I told him that he was able to get a substantial refund, child tax credit, and then with the ITIN number, he's able to add his wife and children to his health care insurance, which was a huge burden. And also he received a huge tax savings as well.
Well, that's just an amazing story, Carmela. Awesome as always.
Yes.
All right. As a human being, a very good tax attorney as well. She really knows her stuff. If you have any tax issues, whether it has to do with getting a tax identification number and filing your tax returns, whether you owe taxes, I can't begin to tell you how many times Carmela has come on this show here on Bradshaw Live, people who owed a substantial amount of taxes and she cut it to peanuts. or if you have a business and you're struggling with your taxes and your finances, Carmela has helped straighten out plenty of businesses in her day. Give her a call. Her consultation is absolutely free. We give free tax consultations, so give her a call. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Her tax consultation is free. The advice she gives on the tax consultation is free. And when she does work for you, whatever you pay her, you're going to save in the long run because she's a fantastic tax attorney. Carmela Waldron, thank you very much. Obviously, prior successful results don't guarantee a similar outcome. But if I were you out there, I know I do it. I know plenty of people who do it. Call Carmela. Use Carmela for your tax issues. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. Carmela, thank you for breaking down all of that information about tax identification numbers.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. Now that's making tax exciting.
Yeah.
Now that's making tax exciting. That is making tax exciting. I love exciting tax, and I also love exciting immigration. We have Hassan from Chicago, Illinois. Hassan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's up?
I just have. I got here in 2003. I got my green card, and I'm a legal immigrant.
Good.
But when I filed for my citizenship back in 2010, I had a child, and I was paying for my child support. But then I lost my job, and I was just using my unemployment money to pay child support. And
all right, so let me understand. You applied for your citizenship, and I guess it sounds like you got behind in child support, and as a result, you got denied your citizenship because you lost your job.
Yes,
right?
yes.
All right.
Yes.
So now I'm going to tell you one thing, okay? That everybody always makes a mistake on child support. If you lose your job or you're not able to pay, and this is water under the bridge for you because it already happened.
Or for the other listeners.
But if you lose your job or there's some other financial issue that you have that you're not able to pay your child support, the judge in family court doesn't know this. You have to go to the judge and ask them to readjust your child support downward modification so that way your child support payments are actually mimic what you're earning. Okay, which you didn't do, which is probably why you got behind on child support. Now, question for you. Is it resolved? Is your child support resolved now?
Everything is resolved. I reapplied for my citizenship. I went through my interview, and I was asking if I had any tax return. I mean, tax returns and stuff like that. I had like $600. And the officer asked me to pay for that and come back. I paid it, and I gave him the receipts and everything. It's been like a year right now. He's not making any decision until
So the
now.
application's still pending, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think someone needs to follow up on that, right, Jenny?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, 1 year. You have two choices. You have three choices. Okay? Choice number one is do nothing and just wait. Choice number two is you hire good attorneys like us who will arrest the crap out of the immigration officer until they make a decision. Keep reminding them about you because maybe you fell off the face of the earth with them. Or number three, you can file a mandamus action and sue them to make a decision. Those are your three options. Okay? So
I have a lawyer. I have an attorney, but he's not doing anything.
Okay, right. So he picked option one. Option one is do nothing. Okay, there's two other options. All right, so if you want to try two other options, hold on and make a consultation. All right? And again, the computer is freezing. There we go. We're going to go to Nicole, and then we're going to find Kim. Nicole.
Kim.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. I have a question. I have a friend who went back to Jamaica. He's a green card holder, but he went to apply for his child visiting visa. But while he was there, they realized that he has an active visiting visa in his book and canceled it. So you want to know if that would affect him when he's coming back.
But he's a green card holder, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty standard procedure because the U.S. Embassy, if they see that there is an active visitor's visa and he's a green card holder, they don't want him to, by mistake, present the visitor's visa and try to come in the U.S., and there's an issue with that. So that's pretty standard protocol, I believe.
Yeah, so you're fine. You just show the green card when you come.
Yeah.
You got a problem with your earpiece?
I do.
What's the problem here?
It's falling out.
It's falling out. All right, so keep the camera on me. Let Jenny fix her earpiece.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not going to be a problem whatsoever. He has a green card. He has a visitor's visa. When he enters the United States, you got to just make sure he shows his green card and not his visitor's visa. That's all.
Sounds like the visitor's visa has been canceled out.
Yeah,
so.
it would be canceled out anyway.
Yeah.
But just show your green card. It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. 1-800-529-5465. That's the number. We're all good now?
I'm good.
Okay, 1-800-529-5465. Let's find Kimmy Kim, and we're good. Stay where you are. Kimmy Kim!
Hi, Kimmy Kim.
Brad. Hello.
Jenny didn't know who you were. She didn't know that I called you Kimmy Kim.
I'm like, who's Kim? Who's Kimmy Kim?
I know. We literally talked today, Jenny.
Yes. And then I said, you know Kimmy Kim, Belgian Kim. And she goes, oh, Belgian Kim who works for us? And I go, yes, Belgian Kim who works here.
Kimmy Kim is the one that told me about Simba in David's office. So we had to run there and, of course, look at the little puppy.
I didn't know that David called him Simba.
Yes.
Okay,
from the
so
Lion King,
I thought the groundhog called him Simba.
No.
Yeah.
His name is Simba.
Why am I having trouble hearing you, Kimmy Kim?
Me too.
I don't know why you're
You got to speak closer to the mic, please.
Okay.
There
I'll
you
speak
go.
a little louder.
There you go.
I've never been asked to speak louder in my whole entire life.
Speak louder, Kimmy Kim. All right, so Kimmy Kim's job, Jenny. Just let me. So besides looking beautiful and wonderful and bringing joy to the world, okay, her job. All right, Kimmy Kim's job is to read off immigration questions to us, and we answer them as quickly as we can. We try to do it as fast as we can. But before she reads off the questions, she gives us a couple of highlights of what's happening with the Brad Squad. So what's happening with the Brad Squad?
So we had a debate going on for a while, as I'm sure you knew, but whether or not Paula should keep her maiden name or change to her married name.
And I said the Brad Squad would weigh in.
They were going to weigh in. They're going to weigh.
And the answer is,
most people said change your name, although the people who said to keep your name were really passionate about Paula keeping her name.
Interesting. I want, because, people who, think it's more of a modern world would keep their name, and people who are more traditional in nature and say, a woman should take the husband's name, takes the husband's name.
Brett, I got lucky because when I got married, I didn't have to change my last name because Eric's last name is Kim.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I didn't have to change any documents or anything.
Is that
that's amazing.
Now, did you have a child together, right?
Yes.
And it came with 2 arms, 2 legs. You weren't actually related to him in any way, shape, or form.
That's correct.
Okay, good. By the way, Kim is probably the most, is that the most common? You're Korean.
Yes,
right?
one of the most common last names.
Right.
So
what's more common than Kim is?
I would say there's Lee, there's Park.
Park.
Those are pretty much the
Lee,
3.
Park, and Kim.
Yes, the 3 most common Korean last names.
Yes.
That sounds like it would be, like, if we put all those together, we could have one really beautiful, like, Korean park of some sort. You know what I mean? Like the Kim Lee Park. That would be a delightful park to go to. I feel like there could be things that...
Kim Lee Park.
The Kim Lee Park.
The Kim Lee Park. And you can park right next to it, right? The Kim Lee Park. Park right here. All right. What are our immigration questions for the day? Let's get going. Got a lot to do.
So we've got Ellie, who has quite a question. She's asking for a friend. The friend is married to a U.S. Citizen who petitioned for her. They lived together, and she had to move because they didn't get along. And then she petitioned to have the conditions removed. They requested more evidence, and she didn't follow up because they were separated at the time. And she moved to New York because she didn't have any relatives in Florida where she was with her ex-husband.
Got it.
Then immigration sent her a letter of deportation.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Happens often.
Happens often.
She then got a lawyer, and they fought the deportation. And recently, immigration sent them a letter to attend an interview with the husband. What's the best option now that they're not together?
Lawyer's a moron.
It doesn't sound as if it wasn't properly done.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the best option is fire the lawyer. That's her best option, because what she needed to do if she's separated from her husband is get a divorce.
And file based on divorce on her own, so she's scheduled for an interview on her own.
Correct. She can't. She has to show up with her husband unless she filed for divorce. So what she needs to do is fire somebody and hire somebody that knows what they're doing. But
Hint, hint, nudge.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Right.
Nicole says, what's the current priority date for parents petitioning for their unmarried children?
Drum roll, please.
I think I looked at this earlier today, and it was about 7 years, so possibly 2011 of March, I believe it was.
April 8th, 2011.
Close enough.
Very close, Jenny Kim.
They were probably in March earlier
Yes.
today, and they got to April.
Correct.
Kim Possible, which I don't know if you know this, but that's actually my text ringtone, is like the doot 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 doot. So I'm partial to Kim Possible. Kim Possible says.
I have no idea who Kim Possible is. That's why I'm just shaking my head. I'm shaking my head because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But continue. I think it's a cartoon character. Is it a cartoon character?
I think it might be a
Cartoon character on the Disney Channel.
Okay,
so it's not crazy.
Okay.
But no, we're going to have
obviously, I'm showing my age.
I did not know either, Brad.
I'm obviously showing my age. All right, let's continue.
Kim Possible wants to know, how long will it take for my friend to file for his daughter? The daughter is currently 20 and living in another country, but the friend is a citizen.
Oh, you need to file immediately for the I-130 petition before the daughter turns 21 so that he can lock in her age. Because once she turns 21, she's going to be considered an adult child of a U.S. citizen with hefty waiting period.
Yeah, if you file before 21, if you file before 21, she's going to wait about a year. Once she turns 21 and then you wait to file, it's going to be about 7 years.
Yes.
They are cutting it close.
You'll notice that Kim has a lot of facial expressions after,
After you answer a question?
After I answer the questions, yes.
It's a while
after. She's like on the edge of her seat, like, is this, a person going to get a green card? Right.
Because I'm like, you know me, I'm crossing my fingers for everyone. Like, I want to Oprah everyone and just be like, you get a green card and you get a green card.
For everybody in the studio audience,
you get a green card.
Cards, and they start. We have green cards for everybody. And they start waving green cards. Okay. I wish we could do that. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Kayla says, I'd like to ask, what is the first step for me to do if I jumped ship due to some unforeseen circumstances that weren't my intention? But I'm just a single mom who wants to support her children. I wanted to have a working visa to work here legally and not be afraid to just get picked up by ICE at any time. What can I do?
So jump ship means you came on a crewman's visa and you didn't show up to the boat.
Right.
It doesn't mean you jump ship, made your way up to Tibet and got a job as a looper. You know what a looper is?
What is a looper?
It's a caddy. In Tibet.
Oh, it's...
You never saw Caddyshack. Okay, continue.
Age difference.
Yes, I see. You don't know Caddyshack. I don't know Kim Possible. All right, so she jumped ship. She came crewman's visa. What does she do, Jenny Kim?
She, depending on if she has a family member that can go ahead and sponsor her, it's possible that she's going to be eligible for a provisional waiver.
Yeah, we don't know. There's so many possibilities. We can go if.
Possible 245I eligibility.
Yeah, we don't know. So she needs a consultation. Because there's too much. When someone asks a question, I need a green card. There's a lot of ifs and a lot of things we need to know before we give advice. But the answer is we have helped many people who have jumped ship.
Yes.
Made their way to New York City at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. We have helped many of those.
I also want to say bonjour, Kervin. Merci beaucoup pour tout ça. Merci. I've been having some people talk to me in French in the comments.
Oui.
So respond.
Oui.
The world is getting hip. Apparently, the word is getting out that and I don't know why people are thinking that now.
Where did she get her energy from?
On de toi.
On de toi.
On de toi.
Bonjour.
Parlez-vous français?
No.
I just said 1, 2, 3.
I
You
know,
speak
I
Spanish
recognize
and hello. That's all I know. Okay. All right, let's continue.
Kamal says, I'm asking my question for a friend. My friend is married to a woman who didn't, and I am married to a woman that I didn't file for due to the fact that I think she wanted a green card. Can she file to get a green card behind my back or file for divorce after 3 years of marriage? I'm currently engaged to someone else.
Well, we heard I married a friend and wants to know why are you laughing so much?
No, I'm married to a woman. She was asking for a friend and then worded it in the first person.
Oh,
so
I
she was
The only way she can get a green card behind your back is if she's going to claim abuse. If there was abuse, then she's going to get a green card behind your back. If there was no abuse, she's not getting a green card behind your back. So.
But she also needs to prove the bona fides of the marriage.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Jordan says, is the little book that they give you for the citizenship test actually what the test is going to be on?
Yes, there are 100 questions in that book. You have to study all the questions because at the interview, they'll ask you 10 at most. You have to get 6 right.
We just don't know what they're going to ask.
And you don't know, you don't know what they're going to ask. So you
read
need
the
to
book
study everything.
like 7 times.
But as long as you know all the answers to all the questions in the book, you're going to be fine.
You're going to be fine.
Awesome. Burnfire wants to know.
Burnfire?
Bonfire.
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 No, Burnfire.
No,
Burnfire.
Burnfire.
Right.
Burnfire.
Burnfire.
Burnfire says, I'm married to an American citizen, and my wife filed a petition for me, and now I've been approved, but my green card was denied by immigration.
Why?
What do I do now?
But why?
Stop. Let Bernstein answer Burnfire. Bernstein's going to answer Burnfire. Why? Why? Why was it denied? Tell us why, and then we can tell you what to do.
I'm giving you all my
All right,
information.
Burnfire, give us a little more info. What else?
We've got Gloria McKee who says, if I am a U.S. citizen living in Jamaica, can I collect Social Security?
We answered that.
She wasn't watching.
No. You need to be in the United States.
You need to be in the U.S. Curvins would like to know, if I'm a U.S. citizen, can I go back to my home country for a year?
Yes.
Jinx.
Who owes who a Pepsi now? Is that a thing? Do people still...
yeah, you know, it's only a thing amongst lawyers. Lawyers like to jinx each other, even in courtrooms. You know.
Please tell me that's not a thing.
Jinx.
Jinx. Can you imagine? It was a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was a thing when I was.
It was a thing when I was a kid. It was a thing.
Yeah, it was Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi. But I hate
I don't know about Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi.
You know me, you don't think it was just Jinx. Now you can't talk.
It was a Jinx.
It was a Jinx until and you can't talk until you get to punch the person.
Yes, yes.
That's how it was when I was a kid.
I think Brad and I are of the same generation.
Yes.
Violent version that I play.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Kim Possible didn't do the Jinx thing. All right.
No, Kim Possible would never.
All right, we gotta move it because it's getting late into our show here. Let's go like 4 or 5 more questions, and then I want to talk about Shaheen, and then we're gonna come back and finish you up.
That sounds
finish
great.
up Kim Possible. 4 or 5 quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go.
Regina says, my ex-husband from Europe wants to send child support to his daughter, but he's not ready to pay it to my joint bank account that I currently have with my new husband. He wants me to open a new bank account in my own name. Can I go ahead and open that bank account? I'm worried to do it because I'm currently in the process of filing for a green card.
Yeah, you can do it.
I think that sounds like a
that's
legitimate
fine.
reason.
I mean, I think it's stupid on the ex-husband. But you know what? You're gonna fight him over this. Just go open a joint bank. Go open up a single bank account and get your money. And then if you really want to be like, unconcerned about it, take the money from the single account and transfer it to the joint account.
Cogito says, my wife is a U.S. citizen. I got my green card on May 2nd of 2016. When can I go ahead and file for my citizenship?
It's going to be February of 2019.
Was it your conditional card or your permanent card?
Oh, that's a good question. I jumped ahead.
Yes.
We actually don't know that.
All right, assuming it was it's a first time. It's 2 years, 9 months, 3 days from whenever you got your conditional or permanent green card.
Now, Maureen is a little bit worried about the citizenship test as well. She says, what if your reading skills aren't quite up to par? How is that going to work out with the U.S. citizenship test?
If it's not up to par, that means you feel you're not going to pass. You don't pass your citizenship, you don't become a citizen.
Unfortunately.
Unless you're over 55 and had a green card for 15 years, or unless you have a medical condition that prevents you from reading. Got to read.
Cogito's Pochito said that he had a conditional green card in May of 2016.
Also, he has to apply to remove the conditions first within the 90-day period.
So he's in that period now.
2018.
So he must be removing his conditions now, but it's going to be May of 2019. Basically, when you remove the conditions and get approved, you're going to turn around and file your citizenship the next day.
Wow. Marjorie would like to know, if your brother files for you while you're here, I know that it's going to be a 15-year wait. My question is, am I going to get a work permit in that time?
No.
Jinx.
Sophia says if
I just want to hit you in the arm.
they haven't agreed to be our sponsor yet, Jenny,
Yes,
so you're
yeah.
going to have to wait.
Right. But who is Fiji Wood? No, I'm only kidding. All right, continue. All right.
So says if you've got a 2-year green card and your husband sends you a divorce letter, can you file your taxes by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're separated from, I'm assuming you're separated from your husband.
If you're separated, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Jeff Bosey with a question. A real, true
So now I have to explain to Kimmy Kim Kim. Jeff Bosey, who I just found out is Bosey, okay, is an American. Okay, who lives in Long Island.
Who loves the show.
Who loves the show, but he has as many immigration issues as like somebody who's the descendant of George Washington.
As an American.
As an American would have, which is 0. Okay, but he just loves watching. All right, what's his question?
Jeff Bosey wants to know, how old can the son or daughter be until you can't claim them on your taxes anymore? Obviously, if they get a job, I would say then the clock stops, but when is legally the time that you are no longer allowed to?
I'm not a tax attorney. I would say
I have no idea.
I would say it's 18 unless they're still dependent on you.
Like going
which
to
would be, I guess,
college.
go to college.
Mhm.
And this is my guess would be 22, but it's a good question for Carmela. What Jeff should have been listening to earlier is that it's a free consultation with Carmela, so all he has to do is call her up and ask.
And Kamel had the very tough question about the spouse filing behind their back even though they're engaged to someone else at this point.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know if she files an abuse case against you?
You will never know.
You don't.
It's confidential.
You don't. All right, so let's do this. We have Alexander from Claremont, New Hampshire on hold with a burning immigration question, Kimmy Kim Kim. I would like you to talk to the entire Brad Squad, get all your immigration questions ready to go. We're going to speak to Alexander from Claremont, New Hampshire. We have to speak to Shaheen Pasha. We're going to find out about her in a minute. And then we're going to come back. This is me producing the show. Although we have an awesome producer. I really don't need to do this. But I don't know why I feel the need to step on her toes today. And then we're going to come back and finish up with Kimmy Kim Kim.
Kimmy Kim Kim.
All right, Kimmy Kim Kim?
That sounds great.
All right, go take your happy pills, all right? Because you seem to be very down today. You seem to be a little depressed today. So go take your happy pills and come back at 7:15, 7:20. All right, Alexander in Claremont, New Hampshire.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
What's up?
I'm here. I'm from Jamaica, and I'm here from June.
Yes.
June till now, and we get married last year, August.
Who's we?
Me and Charity. Dyer.
Charity.
That's nice.
Charity.
That's a nice name.
Hi.
Charity.
Hi, Charity.
So, Charity, how are you, my dear?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Fantastic.
Wow,
Is it cold up in Claremont, New Hampshire?
It is freezing.
Freezing. Now, Alexander is from where?
He is from Jamaica.
What are you doing in freezing New Hampshire all the way from Jamaica? What are you, crazy?
Yes, I must be.
Yes. Why don't you go to Jamaica? It's warm there. It's all right. So, Alexander, you need a green card, right?
Yeah.
All right,
yes.
so what's your question?
Okay, so he got here in June of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We got married August 2017. We filed for an ITIN number on February of this year. I needed to do that to file taxes. And we were wondering, for him to get a work permit and his green card, what steps we have to take.
My dear Jenny, can you
Oh,
explain to
yes. So what you would do is you would file what's called the I-130 visa petition on behalf of Alexander. Alexander at the same time can go ahead and file for his, it's called adjustment of status, his work permit, as well as a travel document. Right now we're seeing work permits being issued in about 4 months from the time of filing, because ever since the yellow man got into office, which is
he's not a yellow man, he's an orange man.
He's an orange man.
Yes,
okay.
no, he's not a yellow man. Right.
You don't want to know my opinion of that man.
Right. He's just an SOB according to Charity.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, you need to file immigration papers. You need to file an adjustment application as quickly as possible, and you would get your work permit and social in about 4 months.
Okay, and is this something we can file and do without having an attorney? Because we did call an attorney, and it was going to be like $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, attorneys just like us are expensive. I mean, this is his life. This is your life, and you want to do things right, and you've never done this before. And my advice is, I wouldn't do my taxes on my own. I wouldn't file immigration paperwork on my own. I wouldn't even fix my car on my own because I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay? The only thing you do is do what you know best. So, and this is his life. If you screw it up in New Hampshire, they're going to put him in deportation.
And a jurisdiction like New Hampshire, which is a smaller jurisdiction, smaller immigration office, they tend to scrutinize these sort of applications very carefully.
And if you screw it up, it's just going to end up costing you more. Now, here at Spar Bernstein, we have a payment plan. So, you know, I don't know about, other lawyers, but I can tell you that we have a payment plan. It's only a couple $100 a month, and we can help you. All right? So if you can afford that, hold on, all right? But you need to file the adjustment. Hold on. 1-800-529-5465. Jenny, the other day, I have in my hand here. This is, see how we do this stuff? Block A, Block B, Block C. I've learned all of this from television now. We're up to Block R.
Wow.
Okay, we've done a lot of blocks so far. All right, so I spoke to this woman. This is actually a really great story. All right, this woman, Shaheen Pasha, and she came here from Pakistan when she was a little girl.
Okay.
And she was homeless with her mother. And there was a landlady who took her in, who was a white American woman, so that she didn't have to live on the streets with her mother. And the woman didn't take any rent from them. She just helped them get back on their feet.
My goodness, amazing.
Right. And they lived there for 2 months, and she didn't have much of a memory of this woman because it was when she was 4 and 5 years old. She just remembered she was out on the streets, and then this woman took her in and took her mother in, and it was 2 months, and all she remembered is she just called this woman the landlady.
Okay.
And years later, she wanted to go find out about this landlady. She just had this little memory of somebody helping her. And let's go watch. It's a great story. Everybody loves a great detective story, and we have a great one to share with you today. Shaheen Pasha, she's going to be sharing her incredible story, her incredible detective story to uncover her past. She originally came here from Pakistan in 1984, and because of the kindness of a woman who she barely remembered because she was only a few years old, this kind woman who eventually passed away and she forgot about years and years later, helped her and her family to eventually achieve their American dream. It's a really great, touching story, and Shaheen is here with us today. She is an assistant professor of international journalism at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Welcome, Shaheen. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So, where were you born?
I was actually born in Flushing, Queens. Our family originally came here in '76, and I was born the following year.
Oh, okay. So tell me about your family's immigration story.
Yeah, my family did what a lot of people do from around the world. They were looking for the American dream, and they moved here as my mother, my father, and my older brother and sister in 1976. And what they originally figured, they came here from Karachi, Pakistan, and they originally figured that they would, come for a couple of years. My dad wanted to, he figured to get like a master's,
Right.
he wanted to do something like that. And, they immigrated here, and I guess like the American dream just didn't work out for them right away. I mean, it was hard. It was very hard.
How long were they in the United States in the 1970s?
They were here from 1976 until they decided to move back to Pakistan in 1984, and we went back as a family, spent about 6 months there, and realized that we were American. We didn't read or write the language. It was a very hard adjustment.
And you moved back to Pakistan at what age with your family?
I was 6.
And your siblings?
My sister was 13, and my brother was 12.
And you obviously didn't speak the language. You weren't familiar with the culture and customs there because you grew up
here in the United States of America. It's just your parents were not able to make a go of it here, I guess.
I mean, it was a struggle. I mean, we were all poor. I think that the entire community at that point was very poor starting out. You know, I didn't speak the language. We understood it. I think what a lot of kids, my kids can kind of understand Urdu, but they don't really speak it. I think we were all in the same boat then. My sister spoke it better than the rest of us. I didn't speak it at all. And we moved back to Pakistan, and it was a culture shock. We thought we had that cultural tie. My family was very good about keeping that, but it was a very different story when we moved back. We just we didn't feel like we belonged there.
So your family came. You were born in America. You moved back to Pakistan for 6 months, and then returned to the United States in 1984.
Yes, my father stayed in Pakistan at that time, and my mother decided, that she needed to help her kids, and the kids we weren't able to go to school. We were all very smart. We weren't able to go to school. We were really struggling, and she said, you know what, this isn't working. We need to go back, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to, get a job. I'm going to, call my, husband back. My dad was in Pakistan. He was sick. We actually arrived, I believe, on Thanksgiving Day of 1984.
So how was it when you arrived? You come back with basically the clothes on your back and maybe a suitcase full of stuff, no real money in your pocket. What did your mom do? How did you survive?
Well, I mean, when we first arrived, we, were hoping to kind of, I guess, as a community, we were hoping that, the community would be able to help us get back on our feet, but everybody was struggling at that point. And it was one of those questions, well, why would you come back alone? Like, why would you come back without anything? And so, we bounced around for, a couple of days in a couple of different people's houses until, one family uncle just basically said, you know what, this is not working. We all have struggles. We all have problems. And this was your choice, and you're going to have to leave. We can't take in your whole family.
So you got thrown out.
It was one of those things that I don't want to say necessarily that it was thrown out, like, we didn't take us and throw us out in the street. It was one of those things. My mom had put us back in school. We left that morning for school. She really hadn't mentioned what was happening at that point, but she realized that, when we would get back from school, that, she would have to find a place to stay, and she knew the only place at that point that she had to go was a homeless shelter.
Uh-huh.
So we were all in school, not really understanding what my mother was going through. And after she dropped us off, she was trying to figure out what to do. And she was sitting on the stoop of an apartment building in Borough Park, which is where we used to live before we moved back to Pakistan. And that's where the landlady found her.
So there's a landlady. Who is this landlady? And how did your mom know her? How did they find each other?
She was the owner of a building where we used to live. Before we had moved to Pakistan, we lived in this building in Borough Park, in a 2-bedroom apartment there, and she was the landlady. We paid her rent, and didn't really know where we. Your
mom's sitting on a stoop. I'm just trying to get the picture here. Your mom's sitting on a stoop. You're gonna eventually move into a homeless shelter that evening. You have nowhere to live, and just by coincidence, the woman who rented you an apartment on your previous trips to America walks by your mom, and I guess they say hello, and your mom says what?
Well, basically, another woman that had been a neighbor, saw a really lovely Hispanic woman that had been a neighbor of my mother's, saw her there and said, okay, what are you doing? My mom explained the story, and she said, okay, wait here. And she was really kind. She said, look, worst comes to worst, you come stay with us. We have a 1-bedroom apartment. You can stay in our living room. You shouldn't have to go to a homeless shelter. But she said, wait here. And then what my mother didn't know was that she went to the landlady and said, do you remember the old tenant? She's outside. She's sitting outside. And the landlady came and found my mom sitting on the stoop and got the story from my mom. And within a course of a few minutes just said, you know what? I have a 4-bedroom apartment. You can move in with me.
Wow. So this woman who is basically just a landlady to your mom, no relationship. She has no real reason to help you, just out of the kindness of her heart, comes on the street, says, here's this woman with 2 kids. They're going to be in a homeless shelter. Come live with me until you get on your feet. Was this landlady a Pakistani lady?
No, she was a white American woman. We didn't know much about her at all. Honestly, she was just this nice old white lady that lived in the building. And we saw her. The 3 of us saw her, when we would go to school and stuff before, but we didn't ever really have a conversation with her.
How long did you live with her, and what did she do? Did she help feed you, clothe you, give you shelter? And how long did this go for?
We stayed there for about 6 weeks to about 2 months at that point. She was really, really generous. She offered anything, that she had, but my mother is a very strong, proud woman. And so my mother, didn't take anything from her. She didn't even want to cook anything in the kitchen. She just said, look, this is enough. And my mom immediately went and she started pounding the pavement. She got a job. And the first paycheck that she received from this job, she actually handed it to the landlady and said, this entire paycheck is for you. The landlady took it, looked at it, and handed it back to my mother and said, go get something for your children.
Right, she was a very nice, very nice woman. And then I guess you stayed there until your mom was able to collect a few paychecks, pay her own rent, find her own place, and eventually not only your mom, but all you and your siblings all made it, went to college, and all ultimately became successful. Yes. And from reading your story, I understand you never saw this landlady ever again in your life, other than for those 6 weeks where she brought you in to her home. Other than that, you could have been in a homeless shelter, and who knows how your life would have turned out. So now fast forward to today. You know, you are now a very successful professor at the University of Massachusetts. What possessed you to go off and look for this landlady? Because this is where the detective story starts.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly, she was like a specter in our lives. We always talked about her, you know, in a way, like almost like a reverent way. Like, you know, this landlady, she was the person that we always kind of pointed to, said there's goodness in the world, right? And lately, I think in the last year or two, that, you know, I'm a journalist as well, and so, you know, I'm writing articles about just this increasing xenophobia that we're seeing in this country, and this increasing, you know, like Islamophobia, because we're Muslim as well. So I've been writing articles about that. I've been actually watching my own children, who are, you know, in every way, shape, or form, they're American. I mean, they have never been to Pakistan. I mean, they know they're Pakistani. You know, they eat the food. They, you know, wear the clothes.
They're second generation American. It's not even that they immigrated here.
Exactly. I mean, to them, their home is America. And, you know, we've lived as expats. You know, we've lived overseas. I'm a reporter. We've lived in the Middle East. So to them, home was always coming back to America. It wasn't like going back to Pakistan. So for them, I think it was really hard to kind of understand what was happening in the country, because to them, this is their place. So when we started hearing a lot of rhetoric on the television, whether it was Muslim ban or, you know, immigrants are bad or all these things, I think it had a toll on my children. I have a 14-year-old, and I have a 10-year-old, and I have a 3-year-old. And I started realizing that they were becoming more aware of this otherness that was taking place in this country. And it was frankly exhausting for me to have to explain to them that, no, you know, we belong here. This is your home. This, you know, this is fine. And I would keep coming back to the fact that, you know, not everybody can be like this, but it increasingly felt that the country was becoming increasingly polarized. So the landlady it was one of these stories I can't even explain. It was like almost this inspiration. I was increasingly frustrated with what I was seeing. I was writing these stories, talking to my children, and I was watching my children kind of just, you know, hang out in my living room, and there were 3 of them. There was my daughter and my 2 sons, and I instantly, for some reason, flashed back to my childhood when it was, you know, my siblings, and then it was 2 daughters and a son. And
you have this landlady is saying, you know what, there's goodness in this world, and you want to be able to show your children this. You know, there's a woman in this world who helped people who look like us. They helped us. We were Pakistani. We were Muslim. She was white. And this woman helped us when she didn't have to. So I guess, you know, let me go find this woman. Maybe it's a good teaching lesson that there's good and bad in the world.
Absolutely. And there was also, I mean, I'm a journalist as well, so I have, you know, I'm skeptical as well.
Right.
I have curiosity, and one of the questions that kept coming up to me, especially as, you know, I was talking to them, was, why did she do it? Because she didn't have to. I mean, and the fact that she never asked to be remembered. So I didn't know what purpose she had, what made her decide to do this. So that was like this journalistic curiosity in me, understand the why, and which is why I decided to start looking for her.
So you come up with this great idea. I'm going to go look for this woman who's like this like specter, this ghost in my past. We just know her as the landlady. I have I guess a vague memory of what she looks like. I don't know her name, and the only thing you knew is where she lived 30 years ago. How did you go about looking for her?
I mean, it was a process. Originally just started with knowing the apartment building and going through realtor records and deeds and things like that. And even then I was having a tough time because I didn't have a name. So I couldn't tell if that was.
This is the apartment building we're looking at now where you lived when you were 5.
Yes, that's the apartment building. It hasn't changed.
No.
You know, honestly, that's what it went. And I was getting very frustrated because I was going through all these documents. I couldn't find anything that was tangible. And largely because I didn't have a name. And then one day I'm just sitting there and I start having all these flashes. And I kept having increasing flashes of memory from that age. And memory is a weird thing. You don't know when it's going to come. And I would start seeing these flashes from the apartment and flashes of the landlady. And I was sitting there feeding my toddler, and all of a sudden I had this very, very clear flash of walking into the landlady's apartment coming from school. My brother went off to the other room, and I saw a pile of mail had fallen on the floor. And I started to be helpful. I picked it up and I put it on her table, and one of the letters had the name Dorothy.
So,
and that was,
you had this flash in your head, like, well, what do you think about that, where all of a sudden you just knew this woman as landlady, and then all of a sudden, boom, her name is Dorothy. It just pops in your head.
I mean, I don't know whether it was divine intervention. I know that I called my brother right after that because I wanted to see if he remembered anything, and he didn't. But he said, you know what? I told him, I said, I think that the landlady is haunting me because there's no reason for me to have this memory. And I did call my sister afterwards, and I said, do you know her name is Dorothy? And my sister suddenly started crying on the phone, and she said, oh my God, I remember Daddy going and calling her Dottie.
Dottie, right. So Dottie would be short for Dorothy. So now you got a name, and you have a first name and an address in Brooklyn. What did you do?
I mean, I started looking through deeds and trying to find people named Dorothy that lived in that area at that time. And there's a lot of Dorothys apparently.
Right.
And so
it's a very common name.
Yes. And so I couldn't find anything. I was still getting frustrated. And then I started realizing, and I had this flash of inspiration of, my mom vaguely recalled that she had died probably in 1985. My mom thought she remembered hearing that, right? And so I used that date to start plugging in just in the data. I actually went to Ancestry.com and just started plugging in for death certificates from 1985.
Death certificates from 1985 with a woman by the name of Dorothy, which could be thousands and thousands of people.
19 million.
Right. 19 million.
There were 19 million hits, and I went through a lot of them, and then I came across this picture of a grave site in Cambria County, Pennsylvania, and I was like, that can't be it, because she has to be in New York.
It was a picture on Google. You just didn't Google images.
There is apparently a website where just people go around photographing old grave sites and put these pictures up, I guess, to never forget them.
Right.
And so I reached out to the man that took the picture because his name was on it, and he's like, honestly, I don't know who this person is. I just took a picture in this place. And for me, I think this was part of my own kind of bias. I couldn't have conceived that the landlady would be from this really small rural town in Cambria County. So I was
how did you connect this Dorothy with the landlady? Because
that's the thing. I mean, I set it aside, and then I kept looking, and then I finally went to I went through the records in New York, right? I went through some city records in New York, and a friend of mine is an investigative journalist as well, and she's very good at navigating these things. And so I asked her, I said, can you help me, because you might have databases at your publication that would be able to help me. So she went and confirmed for me getting a mortgage deed.
But what made you believe that this gravesite that said Dorothy, whatever her last name is, death 1985, was your landlady Dorothy? What versus the other 19 million? What caused you to look at this picture more than any other picture?
Because when I went that's a great question. When I went through I took that name and I went back to the Ancestry.com and I went through the documents, I was able to find a hospital record, like a death record, that showed her associated with Borough Park, Brooklyn.
Oh,
that was her last.
I see.
And so Borough Park, Brooklyn was where we were from.
Right.
So taking that, I kind of said, all right, now I need I was pretty much 99% sure it was the same person at this point, but then I needed that final deed, evidence, proof, and verification.
So now you got the proof, because this Dorothy, who was buried in Pennsylvania, owned the deed to the property, and she did die shortly after you had left and went out on your own, or your family did when you were 5-6 years old. Was that the end of the story?
It wasn't, because that wasn't enough for me. I mean, I now had a name to her, but to me, it became like, okay, well, she didn't ask me, remember, who is she? Why is she doing this? Why did she do it? Why am I so motivated to find her? And I felt like until I had those answers, I couldn't rest. So I basically went through Ancestry.com to all their databases, and I started sending out emails to everyone that was remotely connected with this family and this name. And I had census records, so I could see where I could prove that she was from Portage. I had all these records that I was able to pull her.
Yeah, Portage is in Pennsylvania, which is a small town, and that's where you discovered that she was actually buried. And you started emailing and contacting all the relatives associated with her. And did anybody respond?
Yeah, a couple people responded. They said that they didn't know her, but one finally said, you know what, I believe this is her niece. And so she gave me the name for her niece, and I sent her a message, and she responded a couple of days later and said, yeah, Aunt Dorothy was my Aunt Dot, which fit with what my father remembered, or which my father called her, and said, I'd be happy. She's my mother's sister, so I'd be happy to tell you anything I know about her.
And this is the picture of the landlady here that we're looking at.
Yes.
So what did you find out about her?
I mean, she was fascinating. She was this woman. She was a child of immigrant parents. Her family had moved here from Germany, drawn by a desire to, once again, the American dream. They were in a coal mining town in Germany. They moved to a coal mining town in Pennsylvania, and they set up shop. And they were poor as well. And she struggled. They had about 5 children. And when she was in her teens, she realized that the economy was dying in Portage. The coal mines were being shuttered, and she decided to go off and make it on her own. And she came to Brooklyn, became a housekeeper, eventually met a merchant marine named Walter Volkammer, who everyone apparently called Butter, but nobody can tell me why. And so then they moved back to Portage.
And did you hear of her doing this for any other immigrant families, boarding them for free? People who are down and out on their luck, or as far as you're aware, that you're the only family she did this for?
As far as I'm aware, we're the only immigrant family that she did this for, but from the conversations I've had, she was very generous with her family members, or extended family members. So there was a lot of, they would help each other. They would, a lot of them did, when they were struggling, would kind of move into each other's homes. Dorothy did take people into her home. I believe that one of the people I spoke to said that in Brooklyn as well, that she brought some, I guess, cousins or whoever to Brooklyn to kind of help them set up shop and work. I know that with her nephews and things, other nephews and relatives, she had offered to help them financially to get settled. So she seemed to be one of these people that really believed in helping people.
Now the niece you spoke with on the phone or by email, did you ever go and meet the niece in person?
Yes, after about 2 months of just email conversations and phone conversations, she said, come down to Portage and visit us. And I went. And for me, it was one of these.
Here's a picture of you and the niece, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the most life-changing experiences.
So tell me what you found in Portage. Tell me how it was. Here's at least somebody who's related to a woman who really made a big difference in my life. And what did you find out there in Pennsylvania?
I mean, this was life-changing for a combination because, one, it was this tie to this woman that I suddenly had a name for. And in meeting Veronica, she is just as kind and sweet and, nice as the landlady was, very open-hearted, very loving. And then when she invited me to Portage, it was a small town. It's in the heart of Trump country. I mean, this is a place where, one of the places that he courted during his candidacy, because this is a coal mining district. And so when I was going there, this is where I had to sort of just deal with my own sort of preconceived notions and biases. And I think we all have them. And this really made me confront mine, especially because of everything that was happening. I was becoming more and more insular. I didn't even realize how much I felt like I was othering myself from everyone else, because I was just convinced that it was us versus them and everybody's bad. And I didn't want to be that way. So when I went to Portage, one of the first signs that met me was a sign outside of the town limits that said, "Trump is president, get over it."
Oh gosh. And you're driving in as a woman, as a Muslim, as somebody who would obviously be considered an outsider driving into this town.
Yeah, and I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I was wondering if I was going to stand out like a sore thumb, or if somebody was going to be rude to me or me. And it was one of those things that I was very concerned, even though I didn't want to admit it to myself, right? Mm-hmm. And I walked in, and people were looking. They would try and figure out who I was, because it's a small town. There's only it's a couple of thousand people, so they all knew I wasn't from there.
Right.
But it was a very welcoming town, and the people that I met were just absolutely lovely. And what they told me was in many ways mirrored so many of my own experiences. This was the Historical Society, and when they told me what the history was of the town, this is an immigrant town, and they all understood a lot of the stuff that I had been through in some ways.
What did you learn from all this experience? Tell me what we should take from all of this.
I think what we need to take from all of this is that, despite all of the negativity that's surrounding us right now, I mean, I'm a journalist, so I know media feeds into that as well. Mm-hmm. I think that we need to separate individual people from larger contexts, right? And I think that one of the things that we're becoming more one of the bad things that's happening is people are just really separating themselves from everyone else. And for me, this was an opportunity which was great for me as a person, but also as a journalist, to once again get into different people, different communities, and kind of see the beauty and the light in all of those communities. And I think that's a really important message to take away.
Well, I think I'll tell you what I get out of this, because it kind of feeds into, your story kind of feeds into what I say a lot on my show, which is, you know, if you find an American, you know, who is an anti-immigrant American, there's many of them, most of them will say, get rid of the immigrants, get rid of the minorities, except for the 4 or 5 I know. They're all good people. You know, when people mix and meet and you realize you have a lot more in common than you have not in common, that's when people say, you know what, they're not so bad. You get this, you know, me versus them, you know, somebody's going to survive and somebody's not. And, you know, I think that's where you get that anti-immigrant feeling from, where people are saying it's an us versus them mentality versus, but it's not an us versus them, because once you know the immigrant, they're part of us.
Exactly. And I think that this really just kind of showed, I think what really ultimately struck with me in the story is this is what America is, you know? And I think, you know, we're losing sight of that because of all the polarized views. But ultimately, I mean, like, it wasn't about politics. I didn't go there and have one discussion about politics or anything other than stories about 2 human beings whose life interconnected. And I think that's what America is.
Now, did you write a story about this somewhere? Where could we read more about this story?
I wrote the story for Narratively, which is online, narratively.com, but it was also picked up a couple of days ago by the Dallas Morning News, and they did a beautiful spread in the Sunday edition for it, which I've gotten a lot of response for. There's some good, some bad, right? But it's something that, you know, I'm very proud of.
What was some of the responses, good and bad? That's interesting.
Some of the great responses were, you know, this really gives me hope once again that we'll get back to our roots as an American. You know, I'm so thankful for you writing this story. This is the beauty in a lot of the mess that we're seeing.
Right.
And some other ones were that stop whining. You know, there was like, can you stop whining already? You know, if you're offended by people or people are mean to you, maybe you deserve it. You know,
right.
And I got a lot of those too.
Well,
so, I mean,
you deserve it if they're being mean to you because of something you did. You don't deserve it if they're being mean to you because you were born the way you are, or born into the religion of who you are, or born into the skin of who you are. So I think they have to stop whining as well.
I agree.
Do you feel you've achieved your American dream, or what is your American dream, or what do you still need to do to achieve your dreams?
I'm living my American dream. I think that, you know, this is an example of people, you know, the story is an example of how the American dream can come. I mean, it can be rough along the way. I'm, you know, a writer, I'm a journalist, I'm a professor, I'm married, I have 3 children, I have my own house, I've traveled the world, and I have roots. And I think that, you know, that was my American dream. You know, I'm writing a book. You know, I've written another book that I just finished that hopefully will get published. So, I mean, that's my dream. That's been my dream since I was a kid, and I can't ask for anything more.
Well, it's a wonderful story. I'm glad it's getting picked up everywhere. I'm really happy that you came on. It's really a touching story. Great detective work, by the way. Very impressive. And congratulations to all the accolades. I disagree with all the people who are negative, but congratulations to all the accolades. Shaheen Pasha, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was a great story, Shaheen Pasha. And there's Kimberly Kim.
Yeah.
We only have about 7 minutes to go. I know you got a lot of questions. Let's get right into it.
Okay, Connie would like to know, my son is going to be 21 in August. I've got a 10-year green card. Can I go ahead and file for him? And if I can, how long is that going to take?
Yes, but it's going to end up being in the F2B category, so you're going to take about 7 years.
Yeah, once he turns 21, it switches
tell him not
over.
to get married.
Marie says, I came here on a 10-year green card. When can I go ahead and file for my spouse and my minor child?
Today.
Papaya would like to know, if your wife is a green card holder, can she file for you?
Papaya's a man?
Papaya is a man.
Huh.
Yes. I mean, it's a fruit, so I wouldn't have really assigned it a gender either way.
I don't know, it just sounded...
I'm
not commenting. I'm sure Papaya is a manly man, too, you know? I'm not commenting on... All of a sudden, I'm going to be like... I'm going to get like a call. By the way, Brad, there's a gentleman outside to see you, and his name is Papaya, and he's like going to be like 6'10", and his like biceps going to be bigger than my entire head. So, Papaya, I mean nothing against you whatsoever. The answer is yes, your wife can file for you.
Maureen says, if my mom overstays.
By the way, tell Fiona if a man by the name of Papaya comes to see me, I'm
Brad is not here.
I'm not here. I'm not here. Yeah.
You need to start telling people that you're like definitely afraid of a man named Papaya. Definitely.
Yeah. Papaya's like, I'm coming after you, man. No, the answer is yes. You can follow me.
Yes.
Maureen would like to know, if my mom overstays on her visitor's visa, can my sister, who's a U.S. citizen, file for her without any problems?
Yes.
Yes.
A Conby would like to know, if someone's married to a green card holder and the wife is about to file for her citizenship in December, their lawyer is saying that she shouldn't file for her husband yet because she should just wait because the husband is out of status. So they should wait until the wife becomes a citizen and then they file for the out of status husband. Is that a good idea, or should they go ahead and file?
Every person could, can differ. So you can't completely argue against that. But my opinion is this: what guarantee that the wife will ever become a citizen?
What if she doesn't pass her?
What if she doesn't pass her interview and he's waiting forever and she never becomes a citizen?
Yeah.
Fact is, if you file now and you're out of status, as long as you don't have a criminal record, no one's going to do anything to you. And even if they try to put you in deportation, it's going to be a long way to deport you. It's not going to happen, especially if the wife eventually becomes a citizen. It takes years and years to deport somebody, especially somebody who doesn't have a criminal record. So my answer is file now. You're married. Be in the system, and worst comes to worst, if the spouse never becomes a citizen within the next 18 months to 2 years, you can do a provisional waiver and get your green card. So reasonable people can differ, but I think I'm more reasonable than the other person.
Junior would like to know, I got married on the 10th of this month and I went ahead and filed my documents already. Can I now leave and go back to my home country and come back to the U.S.? I do have a visitor's visa.
You need to apply for an advance parole document. Have that advance parole document approved before you actually travel outside the U.S., or your green card application is going to be abandoned.
Correct.
Champagne would like to know, what's the next step after getting your approval letter for your husband who is a citizen?
Now, Champagne is a woman, is that correct? Because if Champagne was going to be a man, I'm going to be like, what are these names today, right?
There's no telling, because Champagne's full name is Champagne So Sweet Leon.
Right. Oh, so you don't know.
Leon there.
No, but she said her husband.
She did.
My husband.
She did.
But then you don't even know these days anymore.
No.
Right, I was about to say,
if you think about it could be his husband. You don't know. All right, but what is the question? Because I'm going to put my foot in my mouth in about a second. So what is the question?
What's the next step after getting the approval letter for your husband if I'm a citizen?
So she
never did well, first of all, you did an unnecessary step, which sounds like you filed an I-130 unless your husband's in another country.
Yeah,
your husband's in another country, the next step, it's not unnecessary. You got to file the I-130. Next step is wait to hear from the National Visa Center, doing affidavits to support and everything, and fee bills. If your husband's here in America, you did an unnecessary step by filing an I-130. You should have done an adjustment from the beginning. Do it now.
File everything together.
Right.
Karen says, I've got a brother who applied for asylum and got approved. Is he going to have another interview when he goes ahead and files for his green card?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, we've got someone who responded to Maureen, and we need some fact checking from the two wonderful attorneys that we have on deck.
Fact check.
Connie told Maureen that her son filed for her, and she got her after she overstayed her visitor's visa, and she got her green card within 4 months.
That's a possibility.
But that's a possibility, but not in 2018.
Yes.
It was years ago.
Right
but
now,
I think
processing times for petitions like that, where it's a child, a U.S. citizen, adult child filing for a parent, we're seeing closer to maybe 7 or 8 months.
At least.
At least, yeah.
Still, that's not an incredibly long wait time compared to a lot of the other ones.
And generally, the interviews are waived as well. So.
Yeah, but now they're not waiving any interviews. Have you seen interviews being waived in 2018?
Yes, today.
Really?
The mom and dad that came in, they didn't have an interview.
They had no interview.
They had no interview.
Wow, because Trump sent out, or at least the Department of Homeland Security sent out, that every person's supposed to be interviewed. But they're not even following their own guidance.
No, they were not interviewed.
Okay.
Surprise! The administration isn't completely cohesive and doesn't seem to be communicating well to one another.
Surprise!
Breaking news on the Bradshaw Live. We've got our last question from Chabio, who says, a friend's wife filed an adjustment of status, which is currently in process. They got married in December of 2017, but his wife filed her taxes as single since they didn't have any earnings together in 2017. He worked on a temporary status for 2 quarters of the year and ran out of status. Can he file his tax return as single and claim the standard deduction since he got married so late in December of last year?
You got married on December 31st, 2017, and you want to be able to prove that it is a bona fide marriage. You file a joint tax return even if you earn no income. What he should be doing is amending his wife's tax return and filing it
married, filing jointly, yes.
Paulette says, how long after you're married do you get your work permit?
4 months, 5 months.
Well, this is 4 months from the time you file, not from the time of marriage, though.
Right. Thank you.
That's yes. They don't automatically go when
and the top recap of the day from Brad Squad.
And top recap
what
of
do we
the
call
day.
it? We call it a name. We have a name for this segment now. What is this called?
The highlight.
Highlight. Okay, let me just make sure. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. 1 second. Let's get this right. Drum roll, please. The highlight of the day is.
It's from Marsha Whitaker, and Marsha Whitaker said, I watched every single day, but I've never commented. But Shaheen's story really got me.
Wait a second. So Marsha Whitaker's first comment ever was to say, I watch every day and I don't make any comments.
Yes, that was her first comment ever.
But it was Shaheen's story.
But it was Shaheen's comment back that is the highlight of the day, which is...
But Shaheen has had me come out of the closet just because of her story. This melts my heart. I'm now never going back in to the Bradshaw Live closet again. She has now lost the combination. She's in the comments forever, Brad.
She is out of the closet and part of the Brad Squad. Welcome. All right, Kimberly, what? Oh, you have one more thing?
I've got one more thing.
Okay.
I want to welcome a new viewer who also hopped in the comments today for the very first time. Welcome to the family, Anna.
Anna, welcome. All right, Kimberly, Kim, go rest up for the weekend. Come back as happy as ever. Jenny, wonderful job. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you'll come back again.
Yes,
to our entire Brad Squad, everybody who watched, have a safe, wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here Monday at 5:30.
Happy Friday,
so Sam,
everyone.
as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.